The Dallas Cowboys have found their next superstar, and he's already the best player at his position in the National Football League, seemingly coming out of nowhere. But I feel like there's more to his game that we haven't seen quite yet, and I'd love to see more of it, and I'd love to see the Cowboys utilize him in the right way. So I'll break that down and much more on this episode of Cowboys Digest. Welcome in, everybody, to Cowboys Digest. I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, and today we're going to be talking about the marvelous, the wonderful, the electrifying KaVontae Turpin, who is one of the more exciting players in the National Football League, and he has really carved out a wonderful role for himself as the best kick returner, as the best punt returner in the National Football League, which is a reason why he is leading all Pro Bowlers in that regard. But before we get into what can unlock his game even further, I want to let you know that a large percentage of you who are watching these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So go ahead and hit that sub button. It'd mean the world to me, and we're very close to my goal of 3,000 subscribers. So shout out to you guys for all the support that we've gotten recently, and let's get straight into it. KaVontae Turpin has 3 of the 20 fastest speeds by a ball carrier this season. That 99-yard return for touchdown number 3 for him. We literally were talking about his elite speed this week. He is very proud of that skill set. Nice to see him getting to use it. Now, he has been an elite returner for a while now for the Dallas Cowboys, but as I mentioned in the introduction to this video, I feel like there is more for him to unlock, and like I mentioned, he's also leading the NFC Pro Bowl vote getter at returner. He already has one under his belt aimed right at another, and he's a fantastic player for what he does. Now, don't get me wrong. He has his deficiencies. He's 5'9", 155. He's 155 soaking wet, maybe. So he's not a big body. He's limited to what he can do on the offensive side of the football. But in special teams, he's an absolute maniac. And he is someone that can pick up free yards for the Dallas Cowboys and give them great starting field position for their drives, which he has been doing for a couple of years now. And these are his stats in the receiving game, which I wanted to get to. So obviously eclipsed his stats from the past couple of years, the previous couple of years. He's up to 25 receptions, 328 yards, averaging 13.1 yards per reception. He's got 2 receiving touchdowns as well, which is a very nice number. I think he can do a little bit more, and he's got blazing speed. It's not an overstatement to say that he is the fastest guy in the National Football League, with the ball, that is. We go back to the game against the Houston Texans, where he caught a pass up the middle, a little slant route, then he took it 64 yards to the house. He's got that kind of game-breaking ability. We see the Cowboys run a few jet sweeps for him every now and then. I just feel like there is more to his game that the Cowboys can use to their advantage. We know the stat that the Cowboys are dead last in creating separation amongst their wide receivers. I think KaVontae Turpin coming in there and providing some relief in that regard can really help them out. And I'm not saying to use him all the time and for him to be your number 3 wide receiver in most sets. I'm just saying that you are underutilizing him. His speed is such a big component to what the Cowboys try to do on a weekly basis that you're almost foolish to not use him more in the offense. He's a great punt returner. He's a great kick returner. One of the best that I've ever seen. And he's making history with the amount of yards that he is creating for the Dallas Cowboys on a weekly basis. But his speed, his sub 4.3 speed that he has, his 4.2 speed even, I would say, it's such a weapon that the Cowboys need to utilize a little bit more. Now, don't line him up on the outside. He's not going to win those physical battles. Like I mentioned, he has physical limitations. He's 5'9", 155. I mean, that's not going to get it done when you're throwing go balls and when you're trying to get him to win those physical battles. But what he can do for you is create a little bit of misdirection. He can implement himself as a slot receiver, which is something that I think the Cowboys really need to explore. They're 5-7 right now. They have a pretty weak schedule coming up. I'm not going to get delusional and talk about playoffs, but they've been playing much better as of late, and the defense has been a big reason for that. With Cooper Rush now in the backfield, without Dak Prescott for the rest of the season, you need to find ways to pick up yards however you can. And it's great to have KaVontae Turpin start off your drives at the 35 or the 40 of the opponent, but that's not sustainable. That's not going to happen each and every time he returns the football. A lot of fair catches in there. Guys are going to stay away from him. They don't want him to return the ball. So how do you combat that? Use him in the offense. CeeDee Lamb is getting targeted 15 times a game, which I'm good with. He's got to get his touches. He's got to get the ball anytime he's open. He's one of the most dynamic receivers in the game, but he needs help. Jonathan Mingo has really started to come on as of late. Getting Brandon Cooks back in the fold, that's great. Jalen Tolbert too, great. Fine. But KaVontae Turpin has an element of speed that the other guys just do not possess. They're good in their own right. They all have their own capabilities and their own strengths to their games. But KaVontae is a hired gun. He is a guy who is the fastest in football. And I'm not over-exaggerating here. His speed with the ball in his hands is something that I have not really seen too much in my time watching the National Football League. He's got that kind of blazing speed, that kind of game-breaking ability that you need to use all the time. So get him in the slot, line him up there, try to throw some quick passes to him, see if he can pick up some yards after the catch. Run a few more jet sweeps because I don't want Cooper Rush dropping back 35, 40 times a game and throwing the ball, leaving himself up for interceptions. I just don't think that is a recipe for success for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, coming up against the Cincinnati Bengals on Monday Night Football this week, this is a golden opportunity that the Cowboys have to utilize KaVontae Turpin even more. The Bengals defense is by far and away the worst in the National Football League. I don't even need to look at advanced metrics. I watch this team play quite a little bit because I have some of their guys on my fantasy roster, and that defense is just straight up trash. There's no, for lack of a better word, they are straight up trash. They got no dogs on that side of the field. They don't generate any pressure with to the quarterback. It's just anemic. It's anemic in the pass rush. Their secondary is absolute garbage. You can expose them. Even with Cooper Rush as quarterback, you can expose the Cincinnati Bengals for what they are. And what they are on the defensive side of the football, frauds. Absolute frauds. So I'm imploring Mike McCarthy and the rest of the Dallas Cowboys coaching staff to use KaVontae Turpin as much as they can on Monday, because I guarantee you there is nothing that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be able to do to stop that misdirection and the speed that he possesses. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you want to see KaVontae Turpin get more involved in the passing game? Do you want to see him be a larger part of this offense? Or do you think he's fine just as a punt and kick returner? Let me know down below, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Go Cowboys.